What I'm trying to say in the final analysis, once we take control of ourselves, we have to stop being imitators and be innovators. We realize we've got a continent 12 million square miles. Wherever our bodies are on the face of this earth, our cultural and political heartbeat is in Africa. Whether you ever go to Africa or not, that is your home, that is the home of your spirit, and that is the heart and meaning and definition of your commitment. And none of us, any place in the world, will be free until that continent is free.
The Mossy Warrior Clan was created because myself and others like Brother Nahisi saw a need for a young African group to analyze information concerning the African phenomenon with no bias, with rigor, and with scholarship. We created the Mossy Warrior Clan for the purpose of being an expert research team, of being a team that produced products, a team that was capable of producing products for African people globally to dispel myths, rumors, and provide them with accurate scholarship.
I don't debate y'all. Y'all too disrespectful. Aboriginal Power won't even debate Sean because he too disrespectful.
He is though. No, he really is though. I can't really like you, bro. You cool. Not a coincidence. I actually chop it up with but niggas that come off too heated and disrespectful, like I said, I'll debate you, bro. But we gotta get in the ring first. If you want to be disrespectful like that, at least disrespect me in the ring, bro. Let's start now, bro. Can you disrespect me in a cage, bro? Like, I'd rather just do that. Then we go straight from the cage. I mean, put your ice on the way to the motherfucking computer, and we'll debate directly after that, nigga. Shit.
That's why I don't even be fucking with the nigga and shit. You feel me? Like, it's like, wait, bro, talk like that, man. We gotta get face to face with you to talk to you like that, my nigga.
Yeah, Peanut. You feel me? Go ahead, I got my brother over here. Peanut, what's the word, my brother?
Yeah, I appreciate you, man, but Lucky, let me say this, man. First of all, I'm an older brother. I'm young in spirit because I stay in shape. But I'm older. I deserve respect. Don't lie on me. You're not going to get nowhere lying because that's what's going to make you fall face first. Second of all, I'm well known in the Pan-African community. I'm not nobody new. You're younger than me. You don't know this. I didn't put in work and expose Rob Bourne, Sutek, any of them people over there. They know it deep down inside. And I'm gonna be long-winded. I'm a Moorish American. I already had back and forth with them dude. They erased videos. I'm not running from anybody. Don't ever say that stupid shit again. Third, and last but not least, I'm not losing no debate to no Pan-African. So don't ever say that shit again, Pamo. And that's it. Appreciate y'all, man.
You heard that? If Sean P want to debate, tell him to debate the champ over there, right?
Sutek wanted so this like it's a pecking order. It's a pecking. So Sean want you and Sutek want him. You say PMF ain't on his
no problem. There's no problem, man. Let's set up a Sutek debate, man. I don't like him anyway.
Okay, so I love that, brother. I love that warrior mentality.
That's how it's going. I love you. Tell Sutek. Tell him. There ain't nothing. My champ always in the chat. Album pop in. We'll set a topic. We'll set a date. Make it pay-per-view. We chop it up behind the scenes. I get their contact. We make it work. Right here. He ain't ducking no favors, bro.
But that's what I'm saying. He do this over here on y'all channel, and then when we get in other
hey, alright, I will block your ass, nigga, because I'm well known for disrupting them chats over there. Nigga, stop fucking lying, nigga. You a goofy, nigga. I would never let a lame ass nigga lie on me in my face, clown.
You gonna block me?
It ain't no time I ain't ever been on the Pan-African channel and made my impact. Stop lying. I'm a real man, bro. Stop lying, fam. Don't do PNF like that.
PNF, he trying to trigger you, brother.
Word the fuck up.
But listen, he did that to me, talking about, word on the street, I'm ducking from John P. I've never even had but one conversation with this little disrespectful motherfucker.
Oh, okay, yeah, he a little hot. He like that.
So he like...
Family, but y'all ain't find y'all own genealogy. Shut the fuck up. That don't make sense for one. Listen, y'all don't know what y'all did.
I don't feel like you standing on business.
Y'all lied on me because y'all don't even know if that's me. And if y'all can trace that shit back to it's me, it's only 2 people in YouTube that got my information. Yeah, he died by his own genealogy. You ain't an Indian, you ain't got a lot of me. Half of this track, best believe you lose a lot of sleep. Probably because you made it up to us honestly. You ain't a Cherokee, nope. You ain't a Chickasaw, nope. You ain't a Blackfoot, nope. Nigga, get lost. You just a fool with low comprehension. So I gotta come through with the henchmen. NAC, Sean P, Shy Son, Lucky. Don't forget Jay, got no time to play. Caught an apple slipping with his genealogy. Now he's a con and I ain't talking about a singer. I'm coming for the top apple leader. He ain't a teacher, he's a preacher. He can't keep up, so we leave him. Yeah, he died by his own genealogy. You ain't an Indian, you ain't got a lot of me. Half of the track, best believe you lose a lot of sleep. Probably because you made it up to us possibly. You ain't a Cherokee, no. You ain't a Chickasaw, no. You ain't a Blackfoot. Nigga, get lost. You just a fool with low comprehension. So I gotta come through with the henchmen. NAC, Sean P, Shy Son, Lucky. Don't forget Jay, got no time to play. Caught an apple slipping off his genealogy. Now he's a con. OTK, TKO. Now he's a con. OTK, you died. TKO genealogy.
From Africa, but they will be able to tell you about Africa. They wouldn't be vaguely saying they from Africa, brother. Like when a European says I'm from Europe, he doesn't say I'm from Europe. He says I'm from Germany. I'm from a particular province. I still got people out there, right? You know, when people say hold on. When people say they from Asia, they tell you where about from Asia they from. They tell you their province. They tell you they still got people out there. These people will confirm that they are indeed a part of their heritage. But you niggas was calling y'all African? Oh, mysteriously, you have no contact with the people you say you descend from. So I don't believe you, bro.
Hating Africa and hating the African, we ended up even hating ourselves without even realizing it. Because you can't hate the roots of a tree and not hate the tree. The roots of a tree and not hate the tree.
You ain't no Indian, please try again. Everybody know you's an African. And Malcolm X said, you can't hate the root without hating the tree. Now take a look at you, you's a wannabe Cherokee. And I told you before, you need some therapy. And why you never show the genealogy? You owe your ancestors an apology. And you know they turning over inside of their graves just because you don't wanna come from a slave. So you gotta take this whipping. I caught another apple slipping. Caught another apple slipping. Caught another apple slipping. Caught another apple. Caught another apple. Caught another apple slipping. Caught another apple slipping. Caught another apple slipping. Caught another apple. Caught another. Let's go. Caught another apple slipping. Caught another apple slipping. Caught another apple slipping. Caught another apple. Caught another apple. Caught another apple slipping. Yo, check this out, man. You wasn't already here, man. Dane Calloway lied to you, man. The research guy lied to you, man. Karemio lied to you, man. Your ancestors come from Africa, whether you like it or not. So no matter what you do, no matter what you say, you will always be an African. You can't deny the facts. You can't deny the evidence. You can't deny the genealogy. You can't deny the DNA. You can't deny it, man. Whether you like it or not, you are African. Caught an apple slipping. That's all we do. That's all we do. Let's go.
Got some dewy-eyed thing that you got a friend. I still ask you to look at that mirror. And if nothing's staring back at you is friendly, then you've got no friend.
Peace to the chat. Your boy Sean P in the place to be, man. Make sure you like the show, share the show, tell a friend, we live. Good afternoon out there in the space, man. We got Keenan in the building, Shabaka, Ramon, Thurman. We got Sister IB in the building. We got, I don't know who this is, but user OC3. He blocked by Mike TV. Yeah, Mike blocking everybody, bro. You know what I'm saying? He blocking everybody. The bar reloaded says she was the first one to comment. We got Zane in the building. I don't know who else in the building, but they ain't commented or said nothing. You know what I'm saying? Make sure y'all like the show, share the show, tell everybody we live, man. I want to hit reset real quick on something. Fuck all that. Fuck all. We gonna get to that. Let's get to this other thing first. So y'all remember, right? I made the video the other day. You know, about dude who said that he was of the belief that African Americans are not West Africans, right? I don't think we claim to be descendants of people from Africa, right? And he went over, he was reading the article, he was saying out of there, okay, cool, everybody up to speed on that, right? Well, let me comment. Let me share my screen. Cause he was just in my messages earlier. I'm gonna tell you how we got up to this point. So apparently, y'all know I made a video. Well, he responded to the video, right? 2 days ago. Here's his comments right here. But he had made two comments. But see me, he said, so far, Sean, I see you as no threat. You did good by not allowing me in the chat, broski. I don't even know what he's talking about. Who didn't allow you in the chat? But I'm about to cook that ass. I said, you want to debate the origins of black people in America? We can get to it Sunday. Today's Sunday. This was 2 days ago. I told bruh 2 days ago. But before I said that, I said threat. Why would you see someone as a threat? Did I pull a gun on you or snap at you? And then I said about the origins. And then I said, allowing who, when, where. I dropped a link to show several times. It was in the chat. Even Ibella told you. He responds a day ago. I ain't see this my first time. Nah, it was subscribers only for comment. Don't act. Why would I act slow? I don't know. You ain't subscribed. If you wanna get in the chat and talk your shit, subscribe and get in the chat and talk your shit. How the fuck I know? I dropped a link. You might not been able to comment because you ain't subscribed, but I dropped a link to the show where Ibella said what she said. I dropped a link to join a panel. You could have hit the link. I dropped it like 7 times. Unc hit the link. What are we talking about? But oh, listen to this. I did a reaction to his video. He responds to the reaction by dropping a 4-part series. Yo, he responds by implying him. I don't even see this. I'm minding my business. So then 2 days ago, he said, Sean, you lack comprehension, my guy. Come pull up, bro. When I came to your show, you ain't even. I asked you for the link, you ain't dropped it. But I said all of this and you ain't said nothing to that response. How can you say I lack something you clearly tried to make the study say anything other than what it says? I told you that African Americans are descendants of people from West and Central Africa, but not continental Africans. Based on the slave trade, yet you swore it was saying we ain't descendants to all you can't explain why 60% of the black men in America have EM180 haplogroup, others L and more, right? So I said all this 2 days ago to him. Okay? Now, I'm gonna come to Ron in just a minute. And the reason that I'm gonna come to Ron in just a minute, because days ago, Ron commented on this same video and said something about he never heard of people calling the enslavement of Africans brought to the Americas a Holocaust. He said that. He can't say that he didn't say it, because guess who screenshotted the mother freaker saying it? Me. I got the screenshot. So when I be telling y'all that he don't know nothing about African American history or black history in the Americas, I'm telling you, he don't know. He don't know. Dude grifting. He grifting off Tyreek Nasheed. And he probably getting a couple of dollars off of it. I don't know. I don't care. Let me see if this will show it. Then he called Rick Kittles a blackologist. How the fuck is he a population geneticist? You calling a population geneticist a blackologist, and he ain't said nothing in there but what the real is. See that one? You know what I mean? And then he be blocking his comments. He'll say it, then delete it. So you gotta watch him. You got to watch him. Look. Then he say, I'll react to this video. Anyone care to join me? Sean loves appealing to authority. What the fuck are you talking about? Who's appealing to the authority? The man is simply telling you about black people in the Americas and where the fuck their origins is from. Who would argue against the evidence? Rick Kittles is consistent with the scientific data that we have available to that. But I'm letting y'all see it for yourselves. I'm finna see if his other comment came up. Look, here you go. 2 days ago, this comment has since been removed. I never heard of it being called a kidnapping. I thought it was a slave trade. See, y'all thought I was making that shit up. The notifications don't get removed because you delete your comment. It still show it. Watch this. Same video. Let's go to it. Keisha commented on it 38 minutes ago or whatever she did. I'm gonna pause the video and I'm gonna come back to old boy. But I'm just showing y'all how it go. Sort by newest. Here we go. Dr. Kittles. Here go his 2 comments. Now tell me where you see the comment at where he said he never heard it. Yeah, he deleted it. He deleted the comment. Thought he deleted these, but I needed to hit newest because he ain't subscribed. So I hit the newest and found these 2. And he just did this an hour ago. I'll react to this video. Anyone care to join me? You know, trying to be funny, not spell my name right. Loves appealing to authority. This dude is a fraud. This is confirmation bias and appealing to authority. Okay, so let's hit the play button.
Okay, thanks a lot. I wanted to thank the organizers.
Oh wait, can y'all hear that? Can y'all hear that? Shiggity. Can y'all hear the shiggity? Let me see. Let me stop sharing. Let's reshare. Oh, okay, damn, y'all could. My bad. Full screen. All right. Let's hit it. Let's see if he's accurate. Look, Rick Kittles. Look at the title. Dr. Rick Kittles explains the genetic admixture of African Americans. Ron, why are you wanting to react to a geneticist explaining the genetic admixture of African Americans and then says that then say this dude is a fraud, and then and then assume this is confirmation bias, and then make another claim that I love appealing to authority. Show me the genetic evidence that challenges the genetic admixture of African Americans and say that it's otherwise.
For the invitation. It's always good to come back to DC. For me, this is where a lot of this started for me in terms of actually applying this knowledge and working on developing these tests. So today I'm going to talk some about using DNA to explore ancestry in African descent populations in the New World. And when we talk about the New World, I think we forget sometimes that there were folk who were here before we got here, right? So the indigenous populations of the New World and their genetic or gene pool, there are still remnants of that in the genetics of folks today. But after the arrival of Christoph, or whatever you want to call him, he brought with him a lot of changes that occurred in the New World. And one of the big consequences of the arrival of Europeans in the New World was the enslavement and the forced migration, or kidnapping actually, of enslaved West and Central Africans who came throughout the New World, right? I mean, came to several regions of the New World from West and Central Africa. So today I'm going to place the genetics of African descent populations in the New World into several contexts. Because when we talk about genetics, I think we have to remember that this is just one tool, one piece of information from multiple sources of information. So I'm sure all of the speakers, the genetic speakers today, are not espousing any genetic exceptionalism. I know I'm not, but I do want to stress that it is a powerful tool that could inform and could allow one to reconcile individual, familial, and geographic ancestry.
I'm gonna come back to this video because this ain't that. I'm just trying to show you how these dudes move. How in the holy fuck is Rick Kittles a fraud? How are you making a claim that I am appealing to authority because of a lecture being posted about the genetic admixture of African Americans? How could you also make a claim You did it twice. You did the appeal to authority and confirmation bias shit twice. Where's the confirmation bias at? We're talking about the Negro in America. Where's the confirmation bias? Right? So again, let me get back to dude who video this is. So let's find dude. Let's go back to his comment so y'all can see. Was that Saunders? Derek? All right, let's go. All right, so the dude made a comment on this video, right? 2 days ago. Y'all saw the response. We ain't got to play the video. We know the video exists. We got it. It's documented. So he did his little onslaught of whatever he did. You say, y'all heard what he said. He making so many videos. So he went in this Facebook groups. He went in the Facebook groups, right? And he started making posts and sharing his videos that he had done. These are his videos. I don't know if they were lives or I don't know if they was uploads. I don't know. Whatever the case may be, he done did these videos, right? So he uploaded these two and did a live. So on the third part. So he did all of this in response to a reaction video that I did. Now, y'all heard me 2 days ago show y'all that I told him to pull up on Sunday. We could just get straight to the business. We could debate this shit without no problem. Now, I don't like your AI shit, bro. Whatever you doing, because you trying to make yourself look like me and me look like you, and we don't look nothing alike, bro. Because that's what you're doing. I don't look nothing like you, and you don't look nothing like me. So whatever filter you using for AI, your AI creator, stop it. But it's gonna prove my point that you ain't no Indian, that you ain't indigenous, that you ain't none of that, because you carry those West African features that you running away from. But that's neither here nor there. However, your boy made 3 videos in response. Now remember, he already did a 3-hour presentation on some bullshit, which I don't even see the video. Hold on, let me see. Did you take the video down? I know you didn't take it down. Nah, there you go. Here you go. All right. So here the video right here. So you did 3 hours and 13 minutes on this. You know, saying African Americans are not West Africans. And you insinuated a bunch of shit. Then you came back and did another live. And uploaded 2 videos, which total about 3 more hours. So that's, you're reacting to a reaction. And you did hour 22 on that one, an hour 13 on this one, right? So we did 2.5 hours there. Then you did a live. I ain't seen none of these 3 videos. Your live that was that. And I guess you know what I'm saying? You in your feelings. Because see, when I messaged you on Facebook, when I seen your post, it was only because India had told me that you was trying to tag me in a group. And she let you know that why is you tagging me in a group when you know y'all kicked me up out the group and y'all blocked me from even being in the group. But you tagging my name, so you know I ain't going to be able to see none of that. The same thing with the Choctaw group. They're not letting me post or do anything in that group. They don't want my content. They don't want nothing. They don't want me posting anything in the group. Because that's how biased y'all are, that y'all got to try to sell y'all lie that way. So you did all this, bro. And so then when you seen me respond to you on Facebook in the Choctaw group that you put that shit in, you gonna send me a friend request. I don't know why you sent me a friend request. I denied that. We ain't no reason for us to be friends. You sent me a message. I guess you sent the friend request to send to so I can recognize the message. I ain't recognized the message until like yesterday or whenever I messaged you. Whatever time of day that was, that's when I got the message, which it could be today, this morning. I think it was this morning. So I told you what it is, what it was, and then you're going to go back and forth. Then you're going to try to tell me to pull up on you on Tuesday. You're not the A side. The evidence is not in your favor. You are the claimant. The burden of proof is on you. I'm not going to your channel and do nothing with you. You could pull up over here, though. And we can get somebody else on the panel with us and they can mediate these terms. And we can do that. We can get to that right now. No, I ain't saying you ducking. No, I ain't saying you hiding. I ain't saying none of that. But I had told you 2 days ago that to pull up on Sunday. And then you act like you didn't know that until you went back and made this last message about 30 minutes, 40 minutes ago, when you had to see if I left you a message on there, and you found out that I did leave you a message, so there was no capping going on, and it was what it was with that. So it is what it is. Now, if you can't comment, you can't comment. You ain't subscribed. You ain't subscribed. Cool. Don't subscribe. You ain't got to comment. You can keep going back in your shit, doing your little shows, and build your content up. But you're not the authority in this particular situation. You don't have the evidence in this particular situation. And that's why I told you, you can't prove the origins of black people in the Americas is in the Americas. Because the quote unquote, I'm going to call it like this, the founding population of black peoples in the Americas are directly from Africa. The founding population of the indigenous peoples that was here before the Europeans arrived and these colonies got to cracking, or Verrazano pulled up accidentally, those people, the original inhabitants, are descendants from East Asians and Siberians. They were here first. If you claim to be American Indian, you're claiming to be from Asia, East Asia, Northern Siberia. There's no way around it. If you identify as black in America, you were not here before the Europeans arrived. Now, you gotta prove that you're a Native American. You gotta prove that you're the Paleo Indian. You gotta prove that you're the Inuit. You gotta prove that you are a fucking Eskimo. I ain't got to do none of that. The burden of proof is on you. You bear the burden, not me. Me, I don't give a fuck about what you claim. Because you can claim it all day. It's just your belief. But what can you prove? You can't prove. See, I don't care nothing about your belief. And I don't care nothing about your claim. I only care about what you can prove. And if you can't prove X, Y, and Z, to hell with it. Make all the excuses you want. React away. But I told you. Now you done did 3 videos behind me reacting to your video because you're trying to save face. It's different if we had a debate and we both had a debate. The debate was live and then you go react to the debate and I go react to the debate, and then there's intro pieces inside of the debate that we pull from and then we teach or expound on beyond those periods. But that ain't even happening. You're reacting to a reaction. So that let me know already you're on a defense. You ain't on offense. I took the ball from you. Now you're mad. You want to get the ball back and go home. So you made 3 other videos. But I ain't got to worry about those 3 other videos. Because I took the ball from you. I told you what you is. I ain't make a claim. I told you what you is. You can't prove it. Just like Ron Raggedy Ass running around here trying to be FBA, holding Tariq Nasheed nutsack. The whole time he over here talking about confirmation biases and blackologists and all this crazy ass shit when it ain't even a fuck. When the goddamn white people telling you the same shit that Rick Kittles is telling you, how the fuck is that blackology? You numbnuts. See, now you're trying to gaslight someone because you don't know Black history in the Americas. You don't know scholarship as it pertains to Black people in the Americas and that period of where people were calling it a Holocaust. That's exactly what it was. It was our Holocaust. Slavery was our Holocaust. The slave trade was our Holocaust. We had millions of people die behind that shit too. People didn't even survive. We had a lot of people that didn't survive the Middle Passage earlier on. Whether it be self-inflicted, whether it be through sickness, or whatever the case may be, or at the hands of Europeans. They didn't make it. So how the fuck is that blackology? That's the problem with you guys, man, when you don't know nothing. So the both of you are really stupid. Both of you stupid. You're making claims with no evidence. Bullshit. Ron, you made another claim on this video right here. I already dealt with the blackologist. So I'm gonna just keep it right there with you, Ron. But what's this dude name? The dude name, man. What's this dude name, man? James. You keep messaging me, James. You know James. You know I'll be, hey, listen, James, you know I'll be in Cleveland, bro. We can go to the museums and you can show me what you know. Me, you, and Chill. You keep messaging me, man. I ain't even read your other message. I just deleted the message. I ain't even trying to really rap with you, bro. Ain't nothing to rap about. And you know I'm live. Because you've been told. You've been told. So I'm not even finna get into you trying to respond and react to what I said in another video. I'm not giving you that time of day. I'm leaving you with your little 33 views or whatever the fuck else you get. Because you made a plumb fool out of yourself. Now, if you want to hit that link and get up here and read that article, then we could do that. Rick Kittle stated less than 0.1% of genetic material is utilized in DNA ancestry testing. All righty. So, GZBREM8. Thank you for coming in the chat today. You said okay, so let me do it this way for you, because apparently you don't understand something. He says Rick Kittle stated less than 0.1% of genetic material is utilized in DNA ancestry testing. That is correct. Do you know why 0.1% of DNA is used? No, you don't, because your second response was this. You said genetic testing cannot be used for geographic specificity due to human migration. Incorrect. Incorrect, because you have genetic markers that hit at specific locations that tell you exactly when you're seeing these repeated patterns in your genetic in your DNA that tells you these specificities that you said they can't be. So here we go again. You don't know what you're talking about. But when Rick Kittles told you that 0.1% of genetic material is utilized in DNA ancestry, do you know why he said that? He said that because we are 99.99% the same. The difference in every last one of us that's listening to the sound of my voice or commenting in the chat is the 0.1% difference. Now, that 0.1% difference can determine a lot, can tell us our eye color, can tell us our the hair color, can tell us the color, that even the fucking skin complexion can tell us so much. So aren't you a human? We're all humans. So at what point do we find the differences in all of us being humans? Do you, let me do it this particular way, man. Let me do it this particular way. Let me help you out. You could have simply just did this and asked your goddamn search engine for the answer. And your search engine would have responded exactly how I just broke it down to you, but it's going to elaborate a little bit more. Why? Because we're asking a specific question. We're asking a specific question, right? We want to know. You want to know? We all want to know. So read that. You can read this article right here. I ain't going to do it for you. You can read why. But it's clearly going to tell you all human beings are 99.9% identical in their genetic makeup. Differences in the remaining 0.1% hold important clues. I said I wasn't going to read this. But that 0.1% hold important clues, bro. Just scroll down the bottom and have fun, bro. Right there. You ain't even got to go too far. All human beings are 99.9% identical in their genetic makeup. Differences in the remaining 0.1% hold important clues about the causes of diseases. Gaining a better understanding of what the interactions between genes and the environment by means of genomics is helping researchers find better ways to improve health and prevent disease, such as modifying diet, exercising, etc., etc. It goes further than that. If you go and you just go read, it'll tell you. I told you characteristics such as eye color. You thought I was playing games. No, I don't play games. I'm very familiar on why that 0.1% is significant. These are things that we were studying back in 2010, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. You know what I'm saying? These are things that we were studying back then to make sure that we understood the advancement of this and why they're only testing the 1%, the 0.1%. We've had these shows, these discussions that actually answer these questions. I know it's people in the chat probably trying to school you on this shit already, but I'm just letting you know where you're lost at. Y'all can't even see this damn screen that just pulled up. Hold up. My bad. Real quick, because I know you got a short attention span. Every person's genome is around 99.9% the same as everyone else's, but the 0.1 equates to around 3 million differences. Some differences in our DNA determine physical characteristics such as eye colors. Others can influence our susceptibility to develop a disease. Physical characteristics. What are physical characteristics? Your phenotype. So I'm saying See what I'm saying? Like those things, your eye color, your hair, your skin complexion. Come on, man. Like you got to you gotta understand. You gotta understand genomics versus genetics and go there. You gotta understand that. Like y'all ain't focused on this. Then let me see what else you were saying, because I got kind of got you caught right there, and I want to, you know what I mean, I want to kind of respond to you. Then you said genetic testing cannot be used for geographic specificity due to human migration. What you think DNA testing does? What is ethnicity? What is ethnicity? Do you know what ethnicity is? Once again, what you're saying in the chat, you actually can tell. See, African ancestry does what? What can African ancestry do? They can tell you which tribe you come from. Why they keep showing? Why in your ethnicity breakdown they telling you Yoruba, Senegal? You know what I mean? They put you amongst all these because you're sharing something in common with those people. Why are y'all not paying attention to that? Yes, humans migrated, but guess what else humans did when they migrated? They left behind DNA. Everywhere a person walks on this planet, this day, if you go back 20 years, if you've left something in, if it can be dug up, if it can be preserved and dug up and brought to the attention of people that's doing this research, you would see that they would find shit on you from back when you lived in the projects. If they were able to isolate. You remember all them times you was spitting, all them times you done went to the bathroom, all them times you done took a shower, brushed your hair follicles, you done did all these different things in these particular places. If they were able to preserve and isolate those places you've ever stayed without anyone else intervening into that, they can find your ass. You don't believe me? Just go ask the dude in San Francisco, the killer, you know what I'm saying, the mass killer. What happened to him? Man didn't even take a DNA test. Man went low, killed all these people, and then hid for quite some time. But because they found evidence in places, but they were unable to come to a conclusion on who this person was or what they could have done. They found evidence. They found evidence. But it was when his cousin, they found his cousin got DNA evidence. Oh, so they found a match. Oh, wait a minute. This person's related to him at a certain base point. Oh, okay, so they like cousins. All right, let's go pick him up. Woo-woo. Found him, took him to jail. Look him up, the San Francisco killer. What we doing, man? We keep bringing it up to y'all attention. Then you said, name the specific chromosomal number of the 23 pairs of million chromosomes that define geographic specificity. I already, that's a dumbass question. I've already went past the base pairs, and I already told you, apparently you don't know how DNA works. So what we're going to do for you real quick in the chat, since you saying the dumbass shit that you're saying in the chat, we're going to show you this little chart. Give me a second. Let me get to pull up what. Oh. And again, I had the source on the screen to keep on telling you about genotypes and genomics and genotypes versus genetics. I have that on the screen for a reason. Let me pull my shit up real quick. Hold on. because I got to go into my folder so I can get the right shit I'm looking for. Let's go. Let's go. Understanding the differences between your ancestry percentages, your country matches, and your genetic groups. There's a lot of ways to analyze our DNA that can help us learn about where we come from. This report provides an estimate of your ancestry breakdown by comparing your DNA to a DNA of over 14,000 people from populations around the world. They call that a reference population. You keep asking about a location and all these other things. There is a reference population. The reason a reference population exists because the genome, the worldwide genome, has been mapped. Shout out to ANZIC 1 and ANZIC 2 here in the Americas for helping bring forth additional information for the mapping. First, we divide your DNA into short pieces like boxcars on a train. Next, we compare each piece to the DNA of every reference population to find the best match. What I said to you earlier about comparing those matches, I'm clearly answering your questions. Now, I know I might be late responding to it because I was on to some other shit, but I'm just now reading the chat. And I'm getting to you before I can even get to my show. This ain't even a part of my show. But because you're in the chat, you're running your mouth, your Twitter fingers, you know what I'm saying? You just, yeah. You're typing too fast. You need to listen. You need to listen. So then after the reference population, after they compare your DNA to the reference panel to find the best matches, they summarize your results using percentages, which are arranged in a hierarchy from continent to region. In some cases, you may see additional details about the possible origins of your recent ancestors, sometimes down to the state or even city. So some of the 23andMe results can tell how much of your DNA comes from different parts of the world. That's another answer to one of your questions. Those are your ancestry composition percentages, and they add up to 100%. To provide these results to you, we divided your chromosomes into short pieces, like boxcars. You heard it. These pieces are short enough that it's general fair to assume that the DNA they contain comes from the same ancestral population. And for each of those pieces, we compare your DNA to the DNA of people whose ancestries we already know. These people comprise our reference panel. The more data you have, the better explaining of the reference panel and the population percentages. So when we find the most closely matching reference populations for our DNA boxcars, we assign it to a particular ancestry. These results are then tallied up and summarized to you as percentages in your ancestry composition. Here's an example. A report, 55% Indigenous American, 2% Japanese, and so on. Country matches and genetic group assessment. Hey, I didn't answer every one of these questions that is going on with that particular person. Now, mind you, the person in the chat is not a population geneticist, but the person in the chat that is complaining about this seems to be bothered. So let's bother the fuck out of this motherfucker right now. Excuse me. You may notice additional results that don't have a percentage associated with them. These are your country matches and genetic groups. If you are assigned a match to a country or genetic group, it means you likely share recent ancestors with people from that country or group. Remember, your country matches and genetic groups are not assigned to you as percentages. Instead, They are assigned at different confidence levels based on the number of individuals that the country or group with whom you share DNA, as well as the total amount of DNA you share. You can have a highly likely match to a country or genetic group, a likely match or possible match. To see the strength of your match to a country of ancestry or genetic group, tap or click the results in your composition results or view your detailed view on the bottom. Here is an example of what the fuck they're talking about. Here, we clearly have an African American right here. Why do I say it's an African American that is right here? Because the gentleman's sub-Saharan African is 72.3%. His European ancestry is 23.7%. Inside of his sub-Saharan African, he is 60.5% West African. He is 30.4% Nigerian. Oh, but they got an Igbo underneath this. This is roughly 30% of his individual's DNA closely matches the Nigerian population. Next, 13.7% Ghanaian, Liberian, Sierra Leone. The dude is wondering, how are they doing this after we clearly just explained it and we're giving you an example, and so on and so forth. Next, if you go a little further, for this is clearly a white person, European, right? 75.5% British and Irish genetic groups. Then they go down in detailed brackets. They're telling you how to look and assess your DNA as you go. We don't need to play any games. For the slow person in the back, I'm going to make sure that you get this so you can understand what is going on. You didn't even know about the 0.1%. Now you know about the 0.1%. Now you know about what they're looking for in that 0.1% and how they compare that 0.1% against the what? What was the key word, ladies and gentlemen, that is used for comparing your DNA? Reference population. What do they call geneticists? Population geneticists, because they're covering or they're discussing about the population, and peoples make up the populations, and therefore the bigger your database is, the better your results will be in specifying certain points of your DNA and where they are found in these particular places that this motherfucker said you couldn't find them. So therefore, do a little reading, do a little research. Let me go on down here, and you're still talking about chromosomes and base pairs, and you repeated yourself over and over, and you keep repeating yourself, and then you don't understand, and then you're saying that is not linked to genetic pedigree. What the fuck is you talking about? What is you talking about? You got relatives, bro. When your ancestry is broken down, it's going to take you to your mother and father. And then it's going to take you to your mother's mother and fathers. And then it's going to take you to your father's mother and fathers, and so on and so on and so forth. So now we gotta go to another link to show bro how it go. Hold on 1 second. Let me get back to my shit. You ever seen an ancestry tree? Have you ever seen one of those before? Let me see if I can pull an image up. Let me see. Oh, first let me show you this example right here, because this is a good one. This is a good one. I mean, I could pull my stuff up, but why? Why would I have to do that? Why would I have to do that when I can just do this right here? Y'all love pictures so fucking much. Cartoons and shit. Right? You love cartoons and shit. Let me pull this up for you. Watch this. Watch this. Share. Bro, I already got one of them tests. I don't need another one of them tests. All right, there we go. Walk with me. Walk with me. We just went through it. We went through a lot of this already. Walk with me. Watch this. Oh, ancestry DNA. Oh, when they check your DNA, they can tell who your first, second, and third cousins are. And then the further back, they'll be able to say a third, fourth, or fifth cousin in there. Oh, then you start getting shit like this. You remember this tree that I was talking about? This tree that I was talking about. Showing you who your parents are, who your parents' parents are, and who your parents' parents are. If we had their DNA, if they're in the system like that, it'll go back there. But instead of showing your parents, it may just have question marks. I mean, your great-great-grandparents, it'll show question marks back there unless you done went in there and started filling out some shit. If they allow you to do it, I don't know. But then it'll show you third cousins, fourth cousins, people you may be related to. Yeah. Same thing with ancestry DNA. So if you ever took a DNA test and you did your ancestry and you got your tree and you're working on your tree and all your recent relatives in your tree all have ancestry DNA and start popping up, you're going to start getting them little green hints about your relatives when they got married or something that happened in the news that got them in the newspaper, and go through all of that. You're building a tree. But more importantly, earlier to you, I was talking about, let me see, this right here. Right here, we was talking about this. We was going through the ethnicity breakdown, and you're talking about that 0.1%. So this right here is what you're being, these pairs, this right here is a representation of your chromosomes. You see it at the top. Chromosome painting depicts the ethnicities are represented in each of my chromosomes. This is a particular person giving an example of such. And as he's given a breakdown from 1 all the way to 23 to 22 to X to Y, there you go. He's giving you a breakdown. 23andMe gives you the breakdown on that too. You asked earlier. You don't know about DNA. Stop it. The man said, listen, the man said he's skipping over everything that I done said already, right? He's skipping over everything that I said right here, right? And then he said an individual sending a swab of his DNA, a dog. The DNA ancestral test said the dog results came back from Igbo tribe. Wrong. That was debunked. That was a lie. What you mean you can't trace your ancestors? Negro, do you not have parents? Do you not? Get them a DNA test. If your mom and dad are alive right now, bro, and you that concerned with it, get your mom and dad a DNA test. Get your grandmama, your granddad a DNA test. Watch what it do. It's gonna show 50% father, 50% mother. Then it's gonna go half of that. And the further back you gonna go, it's gonna cut your grandparents to 25% or a little less than 25%, depending on how it go. You just in the chat and you just talking, and you brought up the whole DNA. All right, so let's deal with this. Not a coincidence is I already talked about this with people, because we're deep. I DNA test my dogs, but I DNA test my dogs for breeding purposes as it pertains to colors and all of that, right? So there are DNA tests for dogs. However, this dude talking about a hoax from a video that was posted. I'm trying to pull another coincidence video if I can get to it. Man, where is that neck? Cause I don't even. I'd rather just listen to you explain it to this nigga, bro. I don't want to keep on. You know what I'm saying? They want to use the turtle. They want to use the this. They want to use the. What else he say? I mean, it's immature of me to go back 10 years to deal with the whole dog DNA video. You know what I'm saying? Like, we all know that it was a hoax. So I don't want to keep on dealing with that. We're going too far back. We know the hoax. It been said it. Slow down. Slow down. Let me give you this other source. Slow down. So, let me reshare my screen, man. Motherfucker tripping, bro. And I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna play a video in a little bit. This dude about to come to my house, and I'm gonna step away and I'm gonna line the video up. Let me line the video up. So when I gotta step away, then I'll come back and we'll get to it. But I'm gonna start building, and then I'm gonna break the build. Stay right there. Let me go to Science with Sean. I'm gonna play this video from Science with Sean a little bit later, which will be in the conversation, but I want to kind of, tackle two things at once. Plus, I need the time to be able to deal with some shit. All right, so let me reshare. I don't know what Buddy talking about. Buddy on. Yeah, you dumb. Only a fool will argue against the evidence. So I want to talk about the origins of the Negro in America. All right. So what I want to do. I want to talk about the origins of the Negro in America. I've done this before, but I need to do it again because there's something that I need to stress. So, the first Negroes landed at Jamestown, Virginia in the year 1619. A Dutch trading vessel, being in need of supplies, weighed anchor at Jamestown in exchange of 14 Negroes for food and supplies. The Jamestown people made slaves of these 14 Negroes, but did not pass any law to effect until the year 1662. Right? 43 years later. Then the number of slaves in the colony was then nearly 2,000, most of whom had been imported from Africa. Now, before I continue the story, we all know about Verrazano's travels to the Americas and how he had like about a bunch of Africans on the ship with him when he arrived. Them dudes break out, run free. We don't know what happened to them after that. We don't know if they were killed by Indians, if they were assimilated into Indians' culture, and what made of them. And even if they did, those people were still of African origin. So, soon as I read the first paragraph, the dude in the chat says false. Right? is rejecting every piece of anything that is said on a panel. They're rejecting anything. So let's do this. Everything is false. All the names in the world. I'm telling you right now, there is no such people called Black Indigenous that existed before the European arrived in the Americas. There's not a population or a presence of Black people or Black Indigenous in the Americas, more specifically the United States of the America, Central America, and South America before European arrival. Because a Black Indigenous person would insinuate people of Australia, Papua New Guinea, those regions. Ain't no Black people in the Americas before the European arrived. And if you're stuck at a coloring book, including the Caribbeans, if you're stuck at a coloring book, then you have a diagnosis problem. Because you don't understand that people closer to the equator and south of the equator and a little north of the equator all shade differently. And a lot of that has to deal with the sun. Now, second paragraph go like this. How they were employed. The Jamestown colony early discovered the profits of tobacco crop, and the Negro slaves were largely employed in the industry where they proved very profitable. They were also enlisted in the militia, but could not bear arms. It skips up. So that's why you say the militia and all of this shit. The defense against Indians. So earlier on in the onset of this particular chapter in this book, it is telling us, right, that the beginning stages for Negroes in the colonies was 1619. Forget what happened with Verrazano. We know that existed. And we know that they got them men, they got off them ships. There was no mention of any women or any children. We know that when them drunk white people had their situation going, they saw an opportunity, they broke free, got away, and the white people don't know where they went. So, as it pertains to 1619, what evidence do we have that actually would verify that? Right? What evidence do we have? Anybody know? All right. Hold on. I'm going to come back to this. Like I said, I got Buddy, dude here. Let me rap with dude real quick, and we're going to come back to the point. But the question still remains. We talking origins.
I think oftentimes when people hear me and see me, they think that I'm a fool. They think that somehow or another I've lost my mind, that I'm not down with the in crowd. They've said that nobody would love me and that I'm an outcast. But let me say this here now. We can be clear about anything. Please let me be clear about this. And I pray that it's received and understood. I don't want to be one of you. I don't want to be one of you weak men, weak people.
My brother,
I'd rather die. Death is welcome rather than to call myself you spineless black men.
Side high, ain't your traditional. Rappers smoking medicinal, stayed in detention. Life is all about principles, cynical ass niggas. Sorry that I offended you. I bring something different while niggas sounding identical. I'd rather drown in a swimming pool than to let you imbeciles stop me from topping my pinnacle. Try me dropped by the genitals. Trust me, it's not intentional. It's the difference between a gangster and a criminal. Cause real gangsters can't do Breakfast Club interviews. A lot of you niggas don't own a business suit. A slave for every pair of Michael Jordan tennis shoe. But anywho, got your bitch walking around like she winning pool with no bottoms on, just the top of her swimming suit. What you gon' say when the niggas gon' try to get at you? Them in what army, or you just talking in general? Cause in the end, we all gon' die like them Seminoles, nigga. These niggas weak. I'm fucking up. These niggas weak. These niggas weak. I'm fucking up. These niggas weak.
I look at the sorry state of black men in America today. The destruction of the family, the loss of integrity. When as a young boy, black shot down every day for years without stopping, when I look at what we are as black people, I'd rather be dead than to continue to live against
y'all ain't trying to start a revolution. Y'all looking for a restitution. Niggas kill each other every day and ain't no evolution. My partner shot 100 niggas and it was never proven. We just labeled him a gangster and kept it moving. Let me give you the same outcome, separate shooting. A white man kill a black, we holler prostitution. So instead of looting, it's time to find some better.
Bruh in the chat said he don't need no video. He the truth. We don't believe nothing about you being truth anywhere. The dogs are, look what you saying. Like everything that you typing in the chat, I dropped the link in the chat, but you didn't hit the link.
The schooling. You can act like y'all don't understand when I'm elocuting. Did I stutter? I was never Ruben. Y'all ain't no Black Panthers. You wasn't there with Newton. You ain't Marshall Martin. Try to better humans instead of all these rappers. We need some better students. It's time to rebuild the neighborhoods that we helped to ruin and the NAACP. Y'all need some help recruiting.
Jig, Gorilla, Apache, they have a Genesis story. And this is from one of the books that says Native Peoples of North America. I provided y'all with this book so you can download the book yourself and you can read it. But here's the Genesis story. It says, in the beginning, the earth was covered with water and living things were below in the underworld. Then people could talk, the animals could talk, the trees could talk, and the rocks could talk. It was dark in the underworld, and eagle plums were used for torches. The peoples and animals that go about by their day wanted more light, but the night animals, the bear, the panther, the owl, wanted darkness. After a long argument, they agreed to play the thimble and button game. And if the day animals won, there would be light. But if the night animals won, it would always be dark. The game began. The magpie and the quill, who loved the light and have sharp eyes, watched until they could see the button through the thin wood of the hollow stick that served as a thimble. This told the people where the button was. And in the first round, the people won. The morning star came out and the black bear ran and hid in the darkness. They played again and the people won. It grew brighter in the east, and the brown bear ran and hid in the dark place. They played a third time, and the people won. It grew brighter in the east, and the mountain lion slunk away into the darkness. They played a fourth game, and again the people won. The sun came up in the east, and it was day, and the owl flew away and hid. Even though it was light now, the people still didn't see much because they were underground. But the sun was high enough to look through a hole and discover that there was another world, this earth. He told the people, and they wanted to go up there. They built 4 miles to help them reach the upper world. In the east, they mounded the soil and planted it with all kinds of fruits and berries that were color black. In the south, they helped heap up another mound and planted all kinds of fruits and that were blue. In the west, they built a mound that they planted with yellow fruits. In the north, they planted the mound with fruits of variety colors, or variety of colors, probably what they meant. Now, the mounds grew into mountains, and the bushes blossomed, fruited and produced ripened berries. One day, 2 girls climbed up to pick berries and gather flowers to tie in their hair. Suddenly, the mountain stopped growing. The mountain stopped growing while their tops were still a long way from the upper world. So the people tried laying feathers crosswise to make a ladder, but the feathers broke under their weight. The people made a second ladder of a larger feather, but again, they were too weak. They made a third ladder of eagle feathers, but even these would not bear much weight. Then a buffalo came and offered his right horn, and 3 others also contributed their right horns. The horns were strong and straight, and with them, the people were able to climb up through the hole to the surface of the earth. But the weight of those humans bent the buffalo horns, which have been curved ever since. Now, the people fastened the sun and the moon with spider threads so they couldn't not get away, and set them up in the sky to give light. And since water covered the whole earth, 4 storms went to roll the waters away. The black storm blew to the east and rolled up the waters into the East Ocean. The blue storm blew to the south and rolled up the waters in that direction. The yellow storm rolled up the waters in the west, and the varicolored storm went to the north and rolled up the waters there. So the tempest formed the 4 oceans in the east, the south, the west, and the north. Having rolled up the waters, the storms returned where the people were waiting, grouped around the mouth of the hole. The polecat first went out when the ground was still soft, and his legs sank into the black mud and had been black ever since. They sent the tornado to bring him back because it wasn't time. The badger went out, but he too sank in the mud and got black legs, and tornado called him back. Then the beaver went out, walking through the mud and swimming through the water, and at once began to build a dam to save the water still remaining in the pools. When he did not return, the tornado found him, asked why he had not come back. Because I wanted to save the water for the people to drink, said the beaver. Good, said the tornado. And they went back together. Again, the people waited until at the last they sent out the gray crow to see if the time had come. The crow found the earth dry, many dead frogs, fish, and reptiles lying on the ground. He began picking out their eyes and did not return until the tornado was sent to him. The people were very angry when they found he had been eating carrion, and they changed his color to black. But now the earth was all dried except for the 4 seasons, and the lake in the center where the beaver had dammed up the waters. All the people came up. They traveled east. Listen to me. They traveled east until they arrived at an ocean. Then they turned around south until they came again to an ocean. Then they went west, and then they turned into the north. As they went, each tribe stopped where it wanted. But the Geraselas continued to circle around the hole where they had come up from the underworld. 3 times they went around it. When the ruler became displayed and asked them where they want to stop, they said, in the middle of the earth. So he led them to a place very near Taos and left them. And there near the Taos Indians, the Jerusalem made their home. So that's one creation story. I'm not going to get into the other creation stories of these other tribes. But I want now, does that sound like some stuff that got anything to do with us? Make that make sense. So let me, while I got a moment, let me get back to Jamestown real quick. So the first Negroes landed at Jamestown, VA, 1619. Dutch ship. We know the ship as the White Lion. If you don't know that, I'm going to break it down to you right here. How does the White Lion get here? Well, let me take you to another source so you can understand how the White Lion gets here. From Angola to Virginia. Virginia's first Africans endured capture and forced journey of 200 miles from Ndongo to Portuguese port of Luanda, where they loaded onto a slave ship, the San Juan Batista. The San Juan Batista sailed to Veracruz into Mexico with 350 enslaved Africans aboard. They endured extreme conditions during the voyage of several months on the ship packed well beyond its capacity. Before reaching Veracruz, San Juan Batista was attacked by the English privateer ships, the White Lion and the Treasurer. Two English ships stowed about 60 Africans and sailed to Virginia. The White Lion arrived at Point Comfort in late August 1619, sold 29 to 30 Africans for food and supplies, and the Treasurer arrived at Point Comfort a few days later and sold 2 to 3 Africans. What they did with the rest, you need to know. What is the evidence for the San Juan Batista existing? Voyage ID number 29252. Vessel name is spelled this way because if you look up San Juan Batista, you're not going to find this voyage ID. This was the way it was written initially until it was changed. Got all of this here. Place where the voyage began in Seville. Seville is in Europe. Principal place where captives were from or purchased, Luanda. First place they were purchased, Luanda. Principal place where captives were landed, they were in Jamaica. What they doing in Jamaica? They're on their way to Veracruz. I mean, literally, they're on their way to Mexico. This is the total number, 350. Then when they get there, how many people made it, didn't make it, who disembarked, etc. Just tell us all of that. Just tell us how many people died on the ship. Out of 350, 203 died. So the remaining people was left. So what about the White Lion and the Treasurer? Right? The White Lion and the Treasurer. Let me pull that up for you. Get me clicking so I can pull it up. That's because it's 8 on the page. So go to 14, come down. So here go the White Lion, and there go the Treasurer. But the Treasurer should be on here twice. Let me change my viewpoint to 30. Let me go back to page 5. I think it's page 5. Oh, it's page 4. All right, so we got the White Lion and the Treasurer showing up. And we got the Batista again. And there you go with the two treasurers. Right? The treasurer would take the people that they kidnapped and they would go slang out a few people there and then go from there. This information is not found in the transatlantic slave trade. The San Juan Batista is found in the transatlantic slave trade. The San Juan Batista, the San Juan Batista, White Lion, and the treasurer for intra-American voyages are found here as well. Because remember, they stopped at Jamaica, right? And they were going to Mexico. So those people from the Congo were going directly to Mexico, 1619. They get beat up and hijacked and robbed by these two ships, carrying different flags from other people that they had ops with. As you can see, the total of people that embarked, 30 here, 30 here. Disembarked, 29, 29. This let you know. That's why it says, you see where it says right here, prize taken from Portuguese. They taking people's stuff. They're placing it. Prize. The treasurer was involved in a whole bunch of jackings. Even Hopewell. Hopewell was involved in a lot of jackings. This is what people don't really talk about. We can't even get past the simple stuff. And so we can get into the Pirates of the Caribbean, as Danny would call it, or as it's known, the Pirates of the Caribbean. We got to get into all of that. But hold on one second, because Buddy finna come back real quick, and I'm going to have something to say to him real quick. Hold on one second. My bad. Hold on. Let me stop this. Let me get back to this other video real quick. We're gonna come back to the Batista. Yeah. I wanted to let like everybody know. That's how the world became to be for those people. Now, that book isn't all about creation stories. There's a lot of history in the native peoples of North America as it explains who they are. But since we got that out of the way, I want to talk about the first Americans and how they had Australian genes. Due to a conversation from yesterday, this prompts these type of things to be more clear. I need to be more clear, more specific, so that if I make a claim and I don't back up the claim in whatever I say, then people can clip that and then they can deal with what I said and ask me for evidence if I don't provide evidence for such. However, I don't ever talk without providing evidence for what I'm saying. I'm not one of the people who like to run my mouth and allow people to just sit back and listen while I say things. So a few shows ago, since I returned about the Abo stuff, I talked about where the people come. And I said the Southeast Asians or East Asians. And I also said the Oceania people. I said these people were the people who populated the Americas. And then I gave reason to it because of the Bering Strait. And that the sea level or the oceanic floor was 400 feet less than what it is today, which means there was lower water. And if you ever seen 400 feet in your life, if you go look at a skyscraper building that's 400 feet tall and you stand in front of it, you're going to realize how much water that is that comes down to where you are, where your feet is. That's a lot of water. So how deep is the actual oceanic floor? However, one person tried to insinuate that the people that I was claiming to populate the Americas was Black people. We used the skin map to try to show them that these people had melanated skins due to the fact that they were living around the equator. The skin map justifies and educates people in this particular lane, but some kind of way we can't address the skin map. Some people say that's hogwash. Some people say that the people that left Africa and populated the rest of the world are the same Africans that left Africa. There was no such thing called mutation and adaptation, that these people were still African. Never mind the fact that they have been gone and some to never return, they were still African. A brother claimed yesterday that that the people of the Indus Valley culture and the Australian Aborigines, the Polynesians, the Philippines, the Melanesians, and so forth, he stated that those people descend directly from Ethiopia and the land of Kush. His evidence for such was to try to attempt to use science and paint them Black, a very hyper-diffusionistic perspective. It has come to my attention today that he has spent another few hours of everybody else's time arguing against the information where it does not support him. And to add to their body of knowledge to move the needle forward, I am going to continue the Jaricilla. I might be pronouncing it wrong, but it's Jaricilla. I'll bring it back on the screen before I get started with this source, just so you'll know exactly which tribe that was whose origin story we told first. All right. This is before, anybody come on into North America. But I think I see, I spelled it wrong in the chat. Jarilla. Or you could just call them the Apache. The next origin story would be the Iroquois. There's another origin story I think comes behind that. They started talking at that point. But there's multiple origin stories, and then the book reads. And it says it right here. How many people were living in the Americas? How did they get here? How long had they been here, and what had they accomplished? This is something that we can come back to, but I want to move forward a little bit. All right. So, but it talks about who these people were, who these native people were, and so on and so forth. But their name is JIC. I spelled it wrong. JICARILLA. Gorilla Apache. All right, let me continue. I ain't getting into that. I don't need they are. All right, so during the last ice age, when hunter and gatherers crossed the ancient Bering land bridge that connected Asia with North America, they carried something special with them in their genetic code: pieces of ancestral Australian DNA. You remember when I was telling you that these people are linked back to those Australords, the Oceania people, and Southeast Asians, and the Northeast Asians, and how they split and did all this other stuff? They brought with them a genetic code. Over the generations, these people and their descendants trekked southward, making their way to South America. Even now, more than 15,000 years after, these people crossed the Bering Land Bridge. Their descendants, who still carry ancestral Australian genetic signatures, can be found in parts of the South American Pacific coast and in Amazon, researchers found. Much of this history has unfortunately been erased by the colonization process, but genetics is an ally to unravel unrecorded histories and populations. Study with the Hunenmeyer and study co-led researcher and doctoral student Marcus Arroyo Castro El Silva, both of whom are in the Department of Genetics and Evolutionary Biology at the University of Sao Paulo in Brazil. So I wanted to make that clear because someone on Garfield's panel was disputing Rob Bourne's uses of sources and information and trying to say who was those people who was writing, yada, 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 yada. He thought he was asking a great question because he wanted to say, see, these is Africans writing about it, or he wanted to say something like that. But he asked the question not knowing that it would also put him in compromise with where his positions is, because he don't have no evidence. But here we see here the Tabitha, as her name is spelled, and Marcos Araujo. These people are at the University of Sao Paulo. So this lets you know that there's some, based on their names and how they're spelled, their ethnicities are very native or indigenous to what's going on. And I try to tell y'all that, but no one really wanted to listen. So new research builds on earlier work, first published in 2015, which showed the ancient modern indigenous peoples in the Amazon share specific genetic signatures known as the Yetpakeru or Y signal, the modern day indigenous groups in South Asia, Australia, and Melanesia, a group of islanders in Oceania. This genetic connection, it caught many scientists off guard, and it remains one of the most intriguing and poorly understood events in human history. The researchers wrote in their study, to investigate the Y signal further, a team of scientists in Brazil and Spain dove into the largest data set containing the genetic data of 383 indigenous people from different parts of South America. The team applied statistical methods to test whether the Native American population had excess genetic similarity with a group they call the Australians, or the indigenous peoples of Australia, Melanesia, New Guinea, and the Andaman or the Andaman Islands in the Indian Ocean. In other words, the team was assessing whether the given Native American population shares significantly more genetic variance with Australians than other Native Americans do. South America groups that did have more genetic similarities with Australians were interpreted by the new research as being descendants of the first Americas and Australian ancestors who coupled together at least 15,000 years ago. My apologies. As expert, the study confirmed the previous findings of Australian genetics ties with the Caratiana and the Suri indigenous people in the Amazon. But the new genetic analysis also revealed a big surprise. The Australian connection was also found in Peru, in the Chatuna people, an indigenous group with ancestral ties to the Pacific coast. The Guarani Akawa, a group in central West Brazil, and the Exviante, a group in the central Brazilian plateau. When a team looked specifically for the Shotuna people and other coastal indigenous peoples, including the Sakura and the Narahula, the researchers found that these people had ancestry from the mix of South American people and the sister branch of the Onge indigenous people who lived on the little Andaman Island. When the team included the Exvante people in analysis, the model suggested that the coastal groups got started first and later gave rise to the inland Amazonian groups with Australian heritage. So the first settlers likely stuck to the Pacific coast due to their subsistence strategies and other cultural aspects adapted to the life by sea. For this reason, they would have at least initially only expanded through or settled the whole American Pacific coast from Alaska until southern Chile. In this context, the expansion to the Amazon passing through the northern Andes would have been a secondary movement. Now, as it pertains to the people in the Americas, you're seeing this in two different lights. You're seeing when we pull up, you're seeing the origin stories and the other way around from the other people, the other way that it actually go. But when we left off, we was talking about the San Juan Bautista, the White Lion, and the Treasurer. The reason that I'm showing y'all this and just trying to slow it down is because this is the beginning, right? Because the first baby born that was of African descent, man, he cut that L off. That mother has a name. And we can find that as well. We have the records of that as well. And also in our primary evidence, I hear my granddaughter down there, she going crazy. So anyway, we really begin our conversation here. This is where we begin our conversation. We have evidence for other things, but this is where we begin our conversation. The colonies, the establishers of the colonies, and who's where, when, who's where and when, why and what is being answered in the establishment and the early advents of the colonies. Now, before we get to, I want to say that. Definitely want to say that. All right, let me go back to where I was at in the book. Now, let me stay right there in the book. All right, so we left off in the book where they were, how they were employed. Jamestown colony discovered profits, tobacco, yada, yada, yada. Remember we said this earlier. The slaves imported came chiefly from west coast of Africa. They were crowded in to hold the ships in droves and often suffered for food and drink. Many, when the opportunity permitted, would jump overboard rather than be taken from their homes. Various schemes were resorted to by the slave traders to get possession of the Africans. They brought many of who had been taken prisoners by stronger tribes than their own. They stole others, and some they took a gun and pistols out. Many of the captains of the slave traders sold in the country. Hold on. My bad. But all right, back where we was going. So many of the captives of the slave trade sold in the country were from tribes possessing more or less knowledge of the use of tools. Some came from tribes skilled in making gold and ivory ornaments, cloth, and magnificent steel weapons of war. The men who were trained to truthfulness, honesty, and valor, while the women were virtuous even unto death. While polygamy is prevalent among most African tribes, yet their systems of marrying off the young girls at an early age, and thus putting them under the guardianship of their husbands, is a protection to them. And the result is plainly seen by travelers who testify positively to the uprightness of the women. The ancestors of the American Negroes, though savage in some respects, yet were not so bad as many people think. The native African had then, and he has now, much respect for what we call law and justice. This fact is substantiated by the numerous large tribes existing individuals of which grow to be old, very old, a thing that could not happen where the wholesale brutalism, which we are sometimes told exists. All native Africans universally dismiss slavery and even despise slavery, and even Liberia have contempt for colored people there who were once slaves in America. The Jamestown slaves were doomed to servitude and ignorance both by law and custom. They were not allowed to vote. They could not be set free, even by their masters, except for some meritorious service. Their religious instruction was an inferior order, and slaves were sometimes given to the white ministers as a pay for their service. The free Negroes of Jamestown were similar conditions to that of the slaves. They could vote, bear arms in defense of the colony, but not for themselves. They were taxed to bear the expense of the government, but could not be educated in the schools they helped build. Some of them managed to acquire some education and property. The Negro heroes who have exhibited their heroism, and many are daring feat during the early history of Jamestown, are not known. It is unfortunate that there was no record kept except that of the crimes of their ancestors in this country. Judging, however, from the records in later years, we may conclude that the Negro slave of Jamestown was not without his Benecker and Blind Tom. Certainly his labor was profitable and may be said to have built up the colony. When John Smith became governor of the colony, there were none but white inhabitants. None but white inhabitants. Their idle habits caused him to make a law declaring that he who would not work should not eat. Prior to this time, the colony had proved a failure and continued to until the introduction of slaves, under whose labor it soon grew prosperous and recovered from its hardship. Thomas Fuller, sometimes called the Virginia Calculator, must not be overlooked in speaking in the record of Virginia Negro. He was stolen from his home in Africa and sold to a planter near Alexandria, Virginia. His genius for mathematics won for him a great reputation. He attracted the attention of such men as Dr. Benjamin Rush of Philadelphia, who in company with others was passing through Virginia. Tom was sent for by one of the company and asked how many seconds a man of 70 years, some odd months, weeks, and days had lived. He gave the exact number in a minute and a half. The gentleman who questioned him took his pen and after some figuring told him he must be mistaken as the number was too great. "Top master," cried Tom, "you have left out the leap year." And sure enough, Tom was correct. The following was published in several newspapers when Thomas Fuller died. Negro Tom, the famous African calculator. He didn't say Negro Tom, the Aboriginal Indigenous Black American. It didn't say Negro Tom, the foundational Black American. It didn't say Negro Tom, the American, true American Indian. It didn't say Negro Tom, the Ontogenists. It didn't say none of that. It says Negro Tom, the famous African calculator, aged 80 years. He was the property. They labeled him as property of Miss Elizabeth Cox of Alexandria. Tom was a black man. He was brought to this country at the age of 14, and he was sold as a slave, as many of his unfortunate countrymen. This man was a prodigy. Though he could neither read nor write, he had perfectly acquired the use of enumeration. He could give the number of months, days, weeks, hours, minutes, and seconds for any period of time that a person chose to mention, allowing in his calculation for all the leap years that happened in time. He would give the number of poles, yards, feet, inches, and barleycorns in a given distance, say the diameter of the Earth's orbit, and in every calculation he would produce the true answer, and less than 99 out of 100 men would take their pens. And what was perhaps more extraordinary, though interrupted in the progress of his calculations and engaged in his discourse upon any other subject, his operations were not thereby in the least deranged. He would go on where he left off, and could give any and all of the stages through which his calculations had passed. Thus, died Negro Tom, this untaught arithmetician, this untutored scholar. Had his opportunities of improvements been equal to those of thousands of his fellow men, neither the Royal Science of London, the Academy of Sciences at Paris, nor even a Newton himself need have been ashamed to acknowledge him as a brother in science. What up, Jehudi? What's good with you, my brother? Man, we just really getting to it. You know what I'm saying? What up, Lucky? But yeah, man, people be forgetting, man, that there's no FBA in front of Tom. There's no Unconscionist, Indigenous, Aboriginal, American Indian, Native American. Ain't none of that shit in front of Negro Tom. What's in front of Negro Tom is he was the African calculator. Remember, he wasn't even properly educated, but he knew numbers. He was a gift. This is early. This is early. We talking to the establishment of anything. This is early, right? Then it closes out. How many of his kind might there have been had the people of Jamestown seen fit to give the Negroes who came to their shores a laborer and immigrant's chance, rather than enslaving them? Much bloodshed and dissension might thus have been avoided, and the honor of a nation never besmirched with human bondage. We talking about the Negro. Yeah. Chapter 3 goes into New York. I'm going to pause right there. We started in Virginia. I showed you about the boats, the White Lion. The ships, the White Lion and the Treasurer, how they were involved in the hijacking of the San Juan Bautista, who carried members from Africans from Luanda, Mexico, but had stopped in Jamaica. They wrecked shop, hijacked the ship, went on about their business. I also told you that the Treasurer and other, let me go back to it. The Treasurer and other, it went back to 8 pages, Jesus Christ. Other ships were always in the Caribbeans hijacking and running around, right? And an indicator for that was when they labeled it's from unknown, right? But they flew the Great Britain flag. The Treasurer did. The White Lion flew a Dutch flag. Hold on. I don't want nobody to think I'll be making up shit. Well, we calling it Hampton today, but we ain't making them nuts. So we can see when we go through records and we deal with the specification of these ships, who was doing what, right? We know. Steal the slaves off these bigger boats, sell them somewhere else. We don't care where they coming from. Hold up. What the fuck did that say? Foundations of the Americas. Okay. So that's what type of time we on. Now, people be like, we've been here, but all these Africans being taken from one place, dropped off at another place, and then this is all intracontinental. This is just in the Americas. See, David Eltis in his book argues that there wasn't a triangular trade. He said that wasn't the case. David Eltis argues that it was a trade going back. He says that they were just bringing everybody from Africa to the Americas. And then when they got to the Americas, they would stay in the Americas, and then an intercontinental trade would transpire between them. And then if they wanted to send some back, they were taking them from the places they had just brought them from, which he really wasn't saying that. He wasn't saying, oh, people was coming this way, then they were taking people this way and going that way. No, he's saying, nah, he's saying the intercontinental trade transferred more people than the transatlantic. All right, hold on 1 second. My damn AC, bro. I'm glad it did it now. All right, so that's that on that. Now, I'm trying to buy some time because I got this dude in my house because I want to have this conversation with James, right? He finally sent him a message. James, I'm going to bring you back in a second, James. But I just want to let people know that James right here, he been patient. He ain't cussing. He ain't fussing. He ain't said none of that. But he got questions. So one of his questions was, what happened to the Australasians? What you mean, what happened to them? We talking different parts of a chronology when you're talking that. Like, what do you mean, what happened to the Australasians? Then you says, I got a little bit to say, but I'm not doing it for the debate right now. I told you what to find. Nah, bro. We need to debate right now, bro. We need to debate right now. We need to debate the origins of the Negro in America. Soon as man leave my house, bro. And he could be gone in another 15 minutes, bro. Hopefully. He been here for about 30 minutes. I'm gonna have to pay him, and then our friend Claire, I gotta get 2 things, which I can get in the, you know what I mean? But and then you said what happened to them? Who was them that you're talking about? The Australasians? What do you mean what happened to them? Hold on. Hey, what you mean what happened to them? You can unmute, bro. You can be heard. I don't think.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yeah, what happened to him?
What you mean? What happened to him?
It's a straightforward question.
No, it's not.
What happened to him?
Historically, what happened to who?
him?
Historically,
the Australasians that you're talking about in South America.
What Australasians in South America?
You said that there was an oceanic presence in Indigenous America and South America, correct?
No, you're going back to a source that what I was reading from on that video.
Yeah. I mean, what did you say? I mean,
the Oceania, that's an old ass video. The Oceania presence isn't referring to the Australasians.
What's it referring to?
It ain't referring to them. It ain't referring to Papua New Guineans. It ain't referring to nobody we don't have a genetic presence for.
So
Are you trying to no,
try to
hold on.
connect
Let
that?
me try to understand. Are you trying to make them black? Is that what you're saying the black presence is? No.
Nah, I'm trying to understand, is that what you're saying? So you saying that
No.
that's not a black, that's not the same. Okay, so
No.
how do you
Those
make
are not
that? How
black
do you make
people
that inference?
because they're not black
How do you
people.
make that inference?
Because they're not
Based
black
on
people.
what?
The definition of
Based on
black.
what?
They're not black people.
I'm saying, where you get what source is saying that they're not black?
They're not black people.
How do you know that?
Because based on the definition of black, they're not black people.
What's the
You just
definition
said
of black?
you just called them something. So they're not black people.
What's the definition of black?
People of sub-Saharan Africa. Descendants of sub-Saharan Africa. People from sub-Saharan Africa.
Sub-Saharan
In
Africa
America,
is
that's the
defined.
definition. You want me to bring it up? Hold up.
Sub-Saharan Africa is defined by the variants that are found in that region.
No.
Yes, it is.
Per the 8.
When we are proxy,
hold on before you get there, because you don't be knowing what the fuck you be talking about, bro. You're not a population geneticist, so I'm not gonna let you do it. I ain't gonna let you do it.
I mean, it's just straight facts. So
no, it's not straight facts.
When we're proxied against West Africans,
it's not straight facts,
you can look
bro.
it up, bro.
It's
when
not straight. It's not straight facts. You asked me about Austronese. You're not asking me about. You just add. You're confusing. That's what I mean. So that's what I'm. Everything
you can try to cut me off all you want, Sean, because you can't answer the question.
I'm not cutting you off. I'm not cutting you off. You can't ask me a question and then I answered and then you say, no, that's not based on this, it's based on that.
You didn't answer the question. I did. Okay, go ahead. Okay, shoot your shot.
Did you not hear the answer? Or did you not hear what you wanted to hear?
Give your answer one more time. What is black defined as?
People of African descent.
Okay, and who defined that?
The white people did when they were taking our asses from where they took us from.
So, based on the out of Africa theory,
now you're dealing with something. You're dealing with two different things.
That's fine.
No, it's not fine, because as soon as you say out of Africa, don't mean that. Are Australasians African?
Came out of Africa and they
are Australasians African?
No, they're not African, and that's my
all right.
point.
So why are you? So when I said that they are not black,
that's your definition, bro.
No, that's not my definition.
Black is not surrounded by sub-Saharan Africa.
No, that's not my bro. Listen to me. Do we have the same shared experience with them?
You said that.
No, I asked you. Listen to my question. Listen to my question. Do we have the same shared experience as Australasians or the Austronese?
How's that relevant, man?
It's very relevant because black people in America, because black people in black people,
what defines a
black people. Listen to me, man. Listen so you can understand the relevance. Because black people in America have a shared experience.
We ain't talking about experiences.
No,
that wasn't my question.
You ain't understanding what I'm saying, bro.
Because we don't share the experience that West.
They are not considered black James. They're not considered black James. That's the short, skinny answer. They're not considered black.
Buddy.
That's not my opinion. That's not my opinion. Because the people that are considered black have a shared experience in the America.
Phenotypically,
they are not black. They ain't black.
Phenotypically, who do they share the most affinities with?
They're not black.
They're not black.
They're not black. You're talking skin color. You're talking skin. You're talking skin color now. You're talking skin color. That don't mean anything because we can go to the South India, near the equator, where those people are clearly Indians. I'm not talking about nowhere. I'm talking in the Middle East. Those Indians, super black, but they ain't us. They ain't us.
You know why they ain't us? You know why they ain't us?
Why they ain't us?
Because they interbred with Indo-Europeans.
What do you think the Australasians interbred with, bro? What do you think
they integrate with Neanderthals. That's different.
No. Neanderthal and what else?
That's
Don't
it.
Don't stop. Neanderthals and what else? What else?
Oh, you want to talk about when the Europeans came?
No.
I'm talking about
no.
how their ancestry was established.
Both Neanderthal and Denialistic, and them same Indo-Europeans that you're talking about, people had to migrate through that gap in order to run into all of that.
Nah, Sean. What I'm saying, and this is what you don't understand. This is what you don't understand.
What you
Let's
mean?
take Mexico.
Let
me finish what I'm saying. Let me finish
Go
what
ahead.
I'm saying. Let me finish what I'm saying.
Go ahead.
So you have all modern human populations are somewhat derived, but others are more derived than others. The Negro population is the least derived population group amongst any population group.
The who?
What you're trying to conflate, Sean?
No. The who?
I said
the who population? What would be considered? What would be considered the Negro population?
The Negro population.
No, what would be considered the Negro population?
Can I answer the question? It's any lineage. It's the lineages that retain the oldest sustained lineages since the first human beings.
One more time. Who is the Negro? No. Because Negro wasn't even around. Negro wasn't around.
Austronesians would fit that description.
No, they don't. No, they don't.
Let me finish
no,
my
they
point,
do
dude.
not. They don't.
Let me finish my point.
You gonna get to.
So Mexicans, for instance, their ancestry consists of European. They consist of Native Americans, Asians, and somewhat what you would call sub-Saharans. But what I'm saying is that Negro populations do not depend on any other ancestry outside of their own population group to descend from. They might have mixed along the way, but their structure is not determined by other populations.
Incorrect, because the Negro.
Show me how I'm incorrect.
Because the Negro in America, in America, not all Negroes have an African haplogroup that would actually justify your argument.
I'm not talking about haplogroups.
They don't have a white. No. They have European. So they have admixture there. So okay. All right. So to go back to your argument, I know what you're trying to do, bro. You're trying to do the hyper diffusionist game where you're trying to make everybody black. Black people populated. Yes, I can. Yes, I can. Yes, I can. I already ended the conversation when I told you that the Australasians are not black. They're not Negro. They're not Negro. They're not Negro. They're not. We don't have the same shared experience, and they're not us.
Experiences don't matter. If that's the case,
because
by
bro,
that logic,
show me
what
black person in America, hold on, let me ask you a question and see if you can answer it. What black person in America has the Denialistic and Neanderthal DNA in them? It's 50 million.
I can't answer the question for every black person, my guy.
Okay. Do you have a percentage
on
of
average,
50
though,
million?
on average, African Americans carry little to none.
Okay. Are you talking Neanderthal or are you talking about both archaic humans?
I'm talking about any archaic hominin group outside of the West African
all right, hold on, pause.
Population group that they're talking about.
Hold on,
pause. In West Africa.
Hold on, pause it. I'm trying to make a point here. So when you brought up the Australasians and you brought the Australese to our front doorsteps, they carry both Neanderthal and Denialistic admixture components that are present. We are not them. So when you say that, what about this group of people? What happened to them? They are not us because genetically speaking, they possess.
Sean, you just contradicted yourself, Sean.
Yo, bro, listen? They carry.
Sean, do you realize that West
ask me about some people who carry archaic
DNA, buddy?
They carry both the Denialistic and
So the West Africans, Sean.
Neanderthal. No, we
Sean,
don't.
show the
We
West Africans.
show me a
Show
West
the West
African with
Africans.
Denovisin. Show me the West
What's
Africans
that?
that carry
I'm
Denovisin
in my car
DNA.
right now. That's why I told you when to debate. I told you
You
that.
can't
I'm in my car.
you can't find one single West African that has Denovisin
I got your messenger. I got your messenger.
Not
I'll send it to you
one.
tonight.
Not one.
I'll send
You
it to you
can't
tonight.
show me
How you
because
gonna
it
tell me what I
doesn't
can show you?
exist. It doesn't
Okay.
exist. It doesn't.
There's been reports.
It
There's been
doesn't
recent reports that
exist.
show that West
We
Africans have
never saw
interbred recently.
Denovisins. We never saw Denovisins,
Yeah,
bro.
buddy. You
We
can
never
try to
saw
overtalk me all you
Denovisins.
want, buddy.
We never saw.
Yeah.
All right, there we go. God, the fuck, Lee, bro. Like, whew. All right. I had to boot him. The reason that I had to boot him, because I didn't want to yell. I had to boot him because he didn't understand that I actually killed him on his point. When he asked the question, what about the Austronese? They ain't us. They're not Negro. He says, how come they ain't? Then he went to the phenotype. Because it's clear they possess Denialistic and Neanderthal admixture along with everything else. They're a different group of human than we are. They possess two freaking archaic humans. Lucky knew it in the chat. Soon as I said what I said, checkmate, it was over. Now now y'all heard him say, and it's fine. He definitely kept deflecting, but it's fine. Then you heard him say, right, that he had West Africans with Denialistic DNA. There is no component at any base point where you'll find Denialistic. 1% to 2% Neanderthal will be present. But Denialistic? No, like Oswald said, they lived in Asia. So how is you drawing these conclusions, right? When you dealing with that? Lucky said something else genius. Lucky said they are the farthest from us on the genetic tree, on the genomic tree. Sorry. I must repeat it again. They are the farthest from us on the genomic tree. Ballard said it once, she said it again. He don't know what a Denialistic is or are. It's clear. So that goes back to my point. When he tries to assume migration patterns, he's like, well, so what happened to them? What you mean what happened to them? They ain't us. Now, I was about to bring up this presentation that I've done several times that everybody has seen before about defining the term black. But there is no need for that. We got a piece of what he wanted to talk about, so now he can go run to his channel. And I'm glad, because it's easy work for me to do, right? It's easy work for me to do. The conversation been over. I'm not trying to one-up you. I'm not trying to make you look stupid. I ain't trying to do none of that to you. I'm going to let you do it to yourself. I'm going to let you do it to yourself. Sitting here ready to go. Oh, wrong one. Oops, my bad. Genetic study reveals surprising ancestry of many Americans. Oh, what could this be about? Anybody know what this could be about? You see all those different ancestries in each of the groups. The average African-American genome, for example, is 73.2 African, 24% European, and 0.8 Native American. But if we want to go further and show y'all, I can pull up my DNA and double down on the whole thing about the Neanderthal. Or since he wanted to talk about Africa so much, we can sit here and we can deal with the making of the African mtDNA landscape. We ain't gonna find no Denialism. They ain't in us. We never mixed with them. We never even saw them. And trying to run and bring the Australasian, the Australianese into West Africa and make them the same as West. It's crazy. No. All them stuff you trying to do, bro, you tripping. All of this is in the description of the video. So that's really why I didn't want to like argue, because I'm not going to argue with somebody that don't know something. He needs to be taught. Before I move a little bit further, hold on one second. Let me make something clear real quick. Let me get something. I need to get my payment method out for this dude fixing my stuff. My bad. Nah. I had went mute. I had muted my thing. I had to go get my car real quick, so I make sure dude get his money. But anyway, so the Y chromosome is inherited along a line of direct paternal descent. Males receive this type of DNA from their father, who received it from his father and from his grandfather in an unbroken chain. Occasionally, mutations on the Y chromosome from one generation to another help to distinguish the Y chromosome lineages. These lineages are grouped in a larger group of lineages called haplogroups. Y DNA haplogroups most commonly found in Africa include A, B, and E, as well as subgroups or other haplogroups. Many African Americans, when they perform Y DNA testing, discover that their Y chromosome is European origin. This has been attributed to the common practice and among slave owners of fathering children by their female slaves. Since the Y chromosome often follows the same patrilineal inheritance of surnames, Y DNA testing can often connect African Americans to slave-holding ancestors to whom their direct line paternal ancestor belong. This is a key piece of information in traditional African American research. Key. That's why every time we talk to the Abos, we get to dealing with their genealogy, and we go back in their records and we find the European. One prominent case on a hallmark studies in the history of genetic genealogy shows that Thomas Jefferson was in fact the father of his slave, Sally Hemings' children. A male descent of Sally's youngest child, Easton, was found to share the same the unique Y chromosome signature of the descendants of Thomas' uncle, Phil Jefferson. This discovery caused a shift in the consensus among biographers and historians of Thomas Jefferson, and consequently changed the way we view African American history. Though many African American males find their direct line paternal ancestry in European. About 65% of African American males have Y chromosomes that trace back to Africa. Subgroups or common haplogroups are more frequently found in specific African populations. It can sometimes be used to identify the likely origins of an individual's direct line paternal ancestor, African ancestor. Mitochondrial DNA, like the Y chromosome, passed down from generation to generation. Mutations distinguish different lineages into the mtDNA haplogroups. The most common mtDNA haplogroups in Africa are haplogroups L1, L2, L3. Unlike the Y chromosome, which is inherited only directly the paternal line, mitochondrial DNA is inherited along the direct maternal line. Every individual receives mtDNA from their mother, who inherited it from her mother and grandmother and unbroken maternal. Most African Americans, when they test their mtDNA, discover that it traces back to Africa through the L. Some find that it traces back into Native American lineages, such as including haplogroups A, B, C, or D. Like Y DNA, some mitochondrial subhaplogroups are only found in high numbers in specific areas of Africa. Therefore, mitochondrial DNA testing can sometimes suggest likely geographic origins. You remember the dude in the chat that was arguing earlier about geographic origins of a direct line maternal African ancestor? You need to be very careful about what I just said here, because somebody will try to clip it and say some find it traces back to Native American lineage haplogroups. That's why you need to take a damn DNA test if you're a female, especially if you're claiming to be an abo, because that's going to tell you if you abo or not. Just ask Dulcinea, who denies her hablo, and at 89, 83, 84, 80% West African ethnicity that she has. Right? I'm not going to go any further than that, but I'm going to skip down to autosomal DNA. Each person receives half of their autosomal DNA from their mother, half of their father, the other half about the previous amount of each subsequent generation. When individuals test their autosomal DNA, they are given a breakdown of ethnicity estimates and compared to databases on individuals who have tested. These ethnicity estimates show the percentages of DNA that originate from different areas of the world. After comparison to the database, each individual is given a list of genetic cousins, which are determined by the amount of DNA that they share in common with other test takers. Ethnicity results typically deal with large population clusters, but the DNA testing companies do not offer more specific descriptions of tribes or localities, and as a result, are not as useful in for identifying the specific areas of Africa where a person's ancestors may have come from. Match lists, on the other hand, provide more specific information on ancestral origins of African American ancestors. Through lists of genetic cousins, it is often possible to identify slave-holding European families who may be among an African American's own ancestors. I don't need to argue with a fool. He needs to be quiet and be taught. So let's do it live. Let's ask Google a question. Interbreeding between ancestors of humans and other hominids outside of Africa has been studied intensively. While their common history within Africa still lacks proper attention, however, shedding light on human evolution in the time period little is known as essential understanding in subsequent events outside of Africa. We investigated the genetic relationship of Neanderthals and Denisovans by identifying a short DNA segments of 1,000 genome phase 3 data that these hominids share identical by descent. By focusing on low frequencies of rare variants, we identify very short IBD segments with high confidence. Skip this next line because they're just talking about the confidence levels again. We attracted two types of old IBD segments that are not only shared among humans, but also with Neanderthals and or Denisovans. See the split? The first type contains longer segments that are found primarily in Asians and Europeans, who more segments are found in South Asians than in East Asians for both Neanderthal and Denialism. They went straight to Asia and they linked the Neanderthal and the Denialism to that. These longer segments indicate complex admixture events outside Africa. The second type consists of a shorter segments that are shared mainly by Africans, and therefore may indicate events involving ancestors of humans and other ancient hominids within Africa. Our results from autosomes are further supported by an analysis of chromosome X, on which segments that are shared by Africans and match the Neanderthal and or Denialism genome were even more prominent. Our results indicated that interbreeding with hominids was a common feature of human evolution starting already long before ancestors of modern humans left Africa. The study goes further. In short, you're not going to show me a Denialism and an African interbreeding. More specifically, let's be direct because we said this earlier, a West African and a Denialism. Not going to show it. You ain't going to be able to show it. Because this mix between the Neanderthals and the Denialisms is an event that occurred in humans outside of Africa. Since African populations show less allele sharings with Neanderthals and Denialisms than non-Africans, they are often used as a baseline for the absence of Neanderthal or Denialism ancestry. Only few studies have looked at Neanderthal ancestry among African populations, and mostly came from the conclusion that Neanderthal ancestry in Africans is probably due to Eurasian backflow admixture. However, archaic hominids live longer side by side within than outside of Africa, and this led to plentiful opportunities for gene flow from Africa that should not be dismissed. Knowing DNA regions of early admixture will help to better identify later gene flow and shed light on the adaptation process. There were support by interbreeding among hominid groups at different points in time. Go find Denialisms and Africans breeding. We don't have to play the game. That whole experience is outside the respect. It's outside the respect. They use Africans as a baseline. It's okay. It's not about you being wrong or none of the crazy stuff. But we know, we understand, bro, we had to sit here and fully understand what goes on. We know that them Papua New Guineans, we know that them Pacific Islanders and Australasians, and I ain't talking Asians, but we know that a Neanderthal, a Denialism had mixed. And we know that humans that left out of Africa for thousands of years have ran into these archaics and mixed. This is why some of those gene features in the Denialisms, as well as the Native American populations, the Asian populations, shows up and expresses itself at the lips, the cheeks, the chin, and the nose areas. Those specific genes, because it's coming from archaics. But you said, James, you said something about skin color. And now you're going to equate everyone that's in a particular tropical region or subtropic region, you're going to condense them down to Negro. It's basically what you did. Then you tried to say that Mexicans were mixed with all these different groups that would later, come into those regions. as if that was the case. That's not true in all instances, because there's Mexicans that can pull up their DNA and they're going to show you the same similar shit that looks just like somebody that's a Native American in America. It's very rare that you're going to get the African component of it. There's going to be a slight African component of it because everybody descends out of Africa, but depending on that base point, are you talking 2, 3%? Are you talking 20, 30%? Who knows what you're talking about, because you're generalizing. And you're never specific. That's why I asked you, out of the 50 million black people in America, how many of them have both archaic human DNA in them? We should be able to see it. And we don't. So I don't even know why we even faking the funk on all of that. You gonna make up a study? Or are you gonna argue this whole ghost DNA thing and then make a claim on the ghost DNA as if we don't? So let me pull this up real quick, just so you're aware of why all the people was telling you that who got what in them. Here's the study. Philippine Yate possesses the highest level of Denialistic ancestry in the world. Multiple lines of evidence show that modern humans interbred with archaic Denialism. Here we reported a account of the shared demographic history between who? Australasians and Denisovans distinctively in island Southeast Asia. Our analysis are based on 2.3 million genotypes from 118 ethnic groups of Philippines, including 25 diverse self-identified Negrito populations, along with high coverage genomes of Austral Papua New Guineans, I'm going to say Papua Nuans, and Ayate Mabucan Negritos. We showed that the Ayate Mabucan possesses the highest level of Denialistic ancestry in the world, 30 to 40%, greater than that of the Australasians and the Papua New Guineans, consistent with the independent admixture even into Negritos from Denisovans. So what are we talking about? So let's do this. Boy went over there, said Indo-Europeans and all the other crazy shit, bro. Bro was just tripping. There's studies there, bro. We ain't saying that they ain't mixed. We know that humans mix with these archaics. We keep saying that. Recent work has demonstrated that 2 archaic human groups interbred with modern humans contributed to the contemporary human gene pool. Here we search the architecture, the worldwide, yada, 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 and the human reference genome. We find no evidence for archaic admixture in the Andaman Islands as previously claimed, or on the islands of Flores, where Homo florensis fossils have been found. However, we do find evidence for at least one archaic admixture event in sub-Saharan Africa. And we know what that is. That is the Neanderthal. That's one archaic. It don't say 2 archaics. It says one archaic, and we know that it's the Neanderthal, with the strongest signal of the Khoisan and the Pygmy individuals in the southern and central Africa. The locations of these punitive archaic admixture tracts are weighted against functional regions of genomes, consistent with the long-term effects of purifying select against integressed genetic material. Anatomical modern humans are thought to have evolved in one or more locations in Africa. We know that. From there, they expanded throughout Africa into Eurasia, and throughout the rest of the world in the remote islands, and colonized only within the past 1,000 years. As modern humans migrated to new areas, they came into contact with interbred in various archaic human groups. It is well documented that non-African individuals inherited 2% of their DNA from Neanderthals, while Melanesians and Aboriginal Australian individuals inherited 4 to 5% of their DNA from an enigmatic archaic human group called Denialistic. The identification and qualification of these admixture events was greatly aided by the availability of highly quality draft genome sequences from a single Neanderthal and a single Denialistic individual. Since only sparse fragment of DNA had been recovered from any other archaic human source, other methods must be used to detect any additional archaic admixture events in human history. Recently, there have been several studies claiming evidence of past archaic admixture events in sub-Saharan Africa. There are two main reasons why these claims are plausible. First, the archaeological record shows that the modern and archaic humans as a group, as well as groups with a mixture of modern and archaic skeletal features, are likely to coexist in the same place and at the same time in Africa for tens of thousands of years. So there was likely more opportunity for admixture inside Africa compared to outside of Africa. Second, genetic studies have consistently shown that sub-Saharan African genomes contain more long, diverged haplogroups than expected under null models without archaic admixture. And these diverged haplotypes are exactly what we expect to observe in archaic admixture did in fact occur. However, these previous studies have been limited scope because they either consider only a small fraction of the genome or include a very limited collection of small sample populations and use the low coverage genome sequences. Further, none of the studies explicitly included potential copy number variants, which can mimic the appearance of archaic admixture tracks. So then he breaks down the study. In this study, we revisited the question archaic admixture by analyzing yada, 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 yada. There are studies out there, and you're not going to find one that's going to take the Denialistic and put him in Africa. Even though you've moved the goalpost on me, I know why you're arguing the way you argue. So let's just do this. The Denialistic hominids are an extinct species, subspecies, archaic human that ranged across Asia during the middle to late Pleistocene, approximately 200,000 years ago to 32,000 years ago. Most of what is known about the Denialistic come from DNA evidence. While many recent fossils have been found and tentatively identified as Denialistic, the first Denialistic discovered was known as a few physical remains. Consequently, no formal species has been established. However, an analysis of mtDNA and endogenous proteins in Harvard cranium, which had been given the name of Homo longi, showed with great certainty that the species represent Denialistic. Let's go find out if this motherfucker was ever in Africa. Do y'all think that the Denialistic was ever in Africa? Okay, forget that. Let's ask a better question. Well, let's get an answer. Denialistics interbred with modern humans with a high percentage. Roughly 5% of Denialistic's DNA occurring in Melanesians. You know, the same people that you was asking me about, James. You was asking me about the Melanesians, James. And I know you're listening, James. You asked me about the Australian. Yeah, these are people. The Denialistic mix with them. Look, Melanesians, Aboriginal Australians, the Negritos, In contrast, 0.2 derives from Denialistic ancestry in the mainland Asians. And Native Americans. You didn't hear shit about Africa. In a 2018 study, South Asians were found to have levels of Denialistic admixture similar to that seen in East Asian. Another study found that the highest Denialistic ancestry is inferred in Oceanias. There you go. So when you start asking, what about these people and what about them people, what a fucking about them? What about them? Them ain't Negroes. Respectfully, they not us. I kept trying to explain that to you, but you didn't want to hear that. You kept trying to hear what you wanted to hear because you was trying to hone in on your little point where you were just trying to make anything about black. You just try to make like black people populated the planet. Black people was all over the world for a European. Black people, you trying to blackity black me, man. And I saw that and I kept hearing that. Even though I was talking when you was talking, I listened when I'm listening to you while I'm talking. Because you're not gonna get me off my point, and then I'm gonna hear the stupid shit that you gotta say so I can come right back. While most populations of Native Americans, East Asians, and South Asians have similar 0.1%, this distribution suggests that there were Denialistic populations across Asia. There's also evidence of interbreeding of the Altea Neanderthal population, with about 17% of the Denialistic genome from the Denialistic cave deriving from them. A first-generation hybrid named Denny was discovered from the Denialistic father and Neanderthal mother. Additionally, 4% of the Denialistic genome comes from an unknown archaic human species which diverged from modern humans over 1 million years ago. This little map tell you where all these motherfucking Denilisticians was at. And more. They ain't in Africa. They ain't in Africans. They ain't. The only way you gonna put something somewhere is you gotta go get these people that mix with them and bring them to Africa. Where the percentage basis is gonna keep on decreasing. You can't find it. And you got a show. You said you got a show on Tuesday. You won't find a show on Tuesday is gonna put it's gonna put Denialism on black people in America. Ain't gonna happen. Ain't gonna happen, bro. Never. Never. So when you start coming up here trying to jargon us with scientific terms which you don't understand, I'm not gonna let you do that because you're not gonna confuse my audience. We gonna keep it simple. We gonna keep it basic. We gonna follow the evidence. We ain't gonna make nothing up. We know. But what we do know is we ain't got no Denialism. Look, they go to green arrow. Show you what the Denialisms are. Saudi Arabia. They ain't in Africa. So they saying Middle East on down the pipeline, yada, 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 yada. I asked you about India, why these people down here so black and why they ain't considered to be Negro. Then you try to give me a whole excuse on that. This is how we know that the Native Americans, as Ra said in the chat, is indigenous to the Americas because of the archaic influence in their DNA. They possess it. The Oceanian groups, they possess it. Yeah, what about the Oceanians? Fuck you mean? What about them? They ain't black. Oh, that's just you saying that they black. Nah, bro. I ain't the one saying that they just because of that. Let me pull up Canva. Let me do this real quick. I hate repeating myself when I already did this shit on shows, but presentations, projects. Folders. I don't care if y'all see this, but I just ain't gonna show it to you though. I ain't gonna show it to you, you know what I'm saying? Okay, it's got this. So that's YouTube. Hold on 1 second. All right, my bad. I'm back. Man, $800. Rent pay the invoice. $799.95, bro. Fuck that. Service charge $125. Coil thaw $110. And block $133. R4, that's $213 for the Freon because it was low. I guess it's free on both of them because it's multiple charges. So $213 on one, $195 on another, then a $23 processing fee. $800 motherfucking dollars. Hold on, y'all. I'm gonna get back to what I was saying. Let me pay this motherfucker. This shit would have cost me a motherfucking thing, man. I probably would have paid $125, man. And make sure y'all get y'all home warranty, dog. Make sure y'all get y'all home warranty, dog. I got one. I just had to get a whole new one because I don't do this shit no more. Shit, 125 over $800. All right, so back to where I was going crazy at. So he not gonna find the Neanderthal mixing with an African in West Africa, and then that gene flow coming into the Americas via West Africa, West Central Africa, and show that he's not. You're not even really gonna. I don't even think you can find an East African with the Novosan in it. Neanderthal, but not the Novosan. So, you know, look, the Novosan ancestry, 0.2, 0.10, look, little to none. They gonna be them Arabs, and they potentially may. Little to none. Come on, man. What we doing, bro? What we talking about? Why is we even having this? These people over here got it. Look how red it is down here in these islands. That's what I keep trying to tell y'all. Look, we know who these peoples is. We ain't gotta play those games. So we kind of killed a multitude of stones, but I'm just trying to establish the presence of black people in the Americas. The black people that are in the Americas are, he threw me off my game because I was supposed to be trying to pull this presentation up. But, all right, there we go. Hold on. Definitions. All right, so let me share the screen real quick because I told y'all I did this shit in a presentation form. Present. Black, not Hispanic origin. A person having origins in any of the black racial groups of Africa. Black. This comes from Cornell Law Legal Definition. Asian or Pacific, American Indian or Alaskan Native. They say and they define. They define who white people are. That's why white come up in that. They be trying to claim Egyptians as white. Negro. It is remarkable that our common people retain the ancient Latin pronunciation ya, a native or descent of a black race of men in Africa. The word is never applied to the tawny or olive-colored inhabitants. So when them fools was sitting there, keep talking about swarthy, tawny, and all of that old shit, because olive color is referring to swarthy. When they get to doing all that old crazy ass shit, using their own source, 1828 Webster's Dictionary, that's your definition of what a Negro is. Boom. And then you get black, because black is referring to a Negro, a person whose skin is black. They ain't talking about us. We ain't no Indians. That's it from that one. You know what I'm saying? Come on, man. I ain't gotta keep doing all this shit with people who can't even comprehend motherfucking easy ass source. Let me get back to something positive that will show a historic Jamestown link. Sean Pace. Before the English arrived in North America's native Virginian Indians already had established trade networks to obtain copper in the search. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, if you look in the description, definitely you already you got access to every source that I already put in the description. And be active, be on it. Real shit. Be active, be on it. Straight up. And he around people. Be active is around people that that kill all of the confusion, bro. He around them people. This is area. This is his stomping grounds. The whole 1492 situation. Be active is right in the thick of that. But anyway, the stories tell us about these Africans, these first Africans. And then the stories would grow. Then the population would grow and grow and grow, right? But the White Lion and the Treasurer are significant, and the San Juan Bautista are significant with the first presence of Africans in the Americas. Now, listen, in America or in the colonies, but listen to what I'm saying very briefly. I am not talking about Verrazano's accounts and the escape runaways that transpired. They don't necessarily commemorate that because it was a revolt. Not really a revolt, but a fleet that transpired for them to get that freedom. Cool, whatever. We know it happened. We know it existed, but we don't know what happened to them people when they ran away. We don't know what made of them, right? And ain't no way that small few of a people is gonna sit here and then turn a whole, you know what I'm saying? Turn a whole population of people up. The not problem, but the solution we have today that we didn't have before is the presence of DNA being there. And I just want to make that strong. So none of the people that I mentioned today is calling themselves FBA or none of that old bullshit. These people have been Africans, remained Africans, and then the Africans that actually would interbreed lightly with Europeans and native groups, those people later on revert back and they're either with Africans, some even with Europeans. So then it gets more funkier on that end perspective because of the biracial component. This is where miscegenation comes in, and then they start passing these laws and not recognizing certain things. And then, you get your, later on in life, you get your segregations and shit like that transpiring. And then you got these worthless ass Negroes trying to claim some Walter Plecker shit. Crazy work. I can't even do this motherfucker no more. I'm at my personal limit on that motherfucker card. Yeah. Save the rest of that bread. All right. So everything starts with here. This is the foundation, right? We talking America. You know what I'm saying? Abos ain't, if Abos want to talk about the Caribbeans and Central America and all of that old shit like they've been doing, then turn around and call the Negroes in the Caribbeans tethers, then they are exactly doing just that. They are tethering their ass off because now they are trying to claim shit that ain't got nothing to do with them. So my point in all of this is saying that the indigenous people, which are the Native Americans, or known to other people as the American Indians, which are the descendants of Paleo Indians who migrated out of northeast Siberia into the Americas. Those people that they keep saying Siberians, those people are the founding population of the peoples of the Americas, North, Central, and South. They got here in two parts, even a back migration, back out, back in, but they got here in two parts, a North Native American route and a South Native American route. Black people were not here. who we know as black people were not here. I don't care nothing about no phenotypical structures because I can show you ugly ass Papua New Guineans that are black as hell, and you're gonna be like, there go the Negro right there. No, Negritos ain't even Negroes. They ain't us. Not like us. So stop the foolery. Stop the foolery. Bring your best work forward and we can go from there. But to be real, you ain't even bringing your best foot forward because you want some shenanigans and you can't even be honest. You can't even be honest. And that's where all of this, oh shit, I ain't mean to stop sharing. That's where all of this conversation goes from. Now he done pissed Rye off because he was in the chat saying the crazy shit. And Rye, he got short. He think my attention span short. Rye attention span shorter than mine. He ain't, you know what I mean? He ain't trying to go there with nothing. He ain't trying to deal with that. So I want to come back and be nice. Do y'all know about the Negro in New York? I ain't even gonna go there. I'm gonna stop right here. I don't even want to go further because then I can do this shit all day, and I don't want to do it all day. I already been live 3 hours. So listen, man. I appreciate everybody tapping in, man. I'm gonna give this a break for right now. You know what I'm saying? I may return next week. We get to handling business and then go from there. But yeah, I got a couple of things I need to get to and handle my business on. So I appreciate everybody tapping in, man. Like the show, share the show, tell a friend about the show. Kofi gonna be live in an hour and a half. He's got a great women's show going down. I think he's doing it on Kofi Pie Side TV. So be ready for that show. It's gonna have an amazing panel full of sisters, and it's Women's Month, and we're gonna get to it like that. Again, if you need any information presented at any particular point of this video, where you seen me show or share a source, and I didn't put it in the chat, and you can't catch it in a live replay, then check the description of this video. It will have additional information that you also can dig into, and you'll be able to fully understand and comprehend what it is going on. I will provide the cell study on the Neanderthal shit that I showed earlier, and that's for anybody who probably wants to smoke. You can get it from there. Mafasia says genealogical evidence proves that foundational black Americans are indigenous to North America. No, it don't. No, it don't. Why you come back in the chat on didn't you just leave? How many fake profiles you got? There's no genealogical evidence. Or this is North America and not musty. Yeah, then you try to be disrespectful, call somebody musty. How the fuck you gonna call somebody musty and you don't even take a shower? Bitch ass nigga, you don't even get soap until we come over here and help you get soap, motherfuckers. You don't even know shit like that. You always just talking. You don't even know nothing. This fool said, Ka Amaru. Oh, you a friend, you a descendant or a follower of Ali Muhammad. Yeah, you ain't got no historical or genealogical records that would even prove anything, because it ain't a record in the world that says anything about foundational black people. The United States don't even know who a foundational black people is. The United States ain't never claimed that black people was indigenous to America. They said your black ass from Africa. How the fuck you come to the conclusion with that? You see how you stay in the chat when I dropped the link and you couldn't even say nothing? You just over there just running off at your dick sucker, man. You on a live show with an opportunity to hit the panel and come up here and share your screen and then show us proof, but you can't. You want to stand on the sideline on a whole nother profile because it's still the same person that was up here the last time. He just switched his profile up. You came back and said the same stupid ass shit, and you can't even prove it. Prove it. This fool said, listen, no genealogist will tell you that genealogy supersedes DNA because you're not doing your genealogy without a DNA test, you dumb idiot. That's why Ancestry.com is so significant to people being doing their genealogy, because you take a DNA test, and the DNA test also helps substantiate your fucking history. No genealogist will tell you to ever do that. You're about a retarded motherfucking fool to ever sit there and insinuate such a thing. Don't ever say no dumbass shit like that. Add R410A by the pound. Additional R41A by the pound. Beats by the pound. Anyway, man, y'all enjoy the rest of y'all day. Appreciate it, man. No future, no faking up front over here, man. We deal with the real information only for the triple OGs who like to do that real scholarship, who know how to do proper research methodology and got a chronology and a historiography about who the fuck they is. And we don't care nothing about no elbows. Peace.
From Africa, but they will be able to tell you about Africa. They won't be vaguely saying they from Africa, brother. Like when a European says I'm from Europe, he doesn't say I'm from Europe. He says I'm from Germany. I'm from a particular province. I still got people out there, right? You know, when people say hold on. When people say they from Asia, they tell you where about from Asia they from. They tell you their province. They tell you they still got people out there. These people will confirm that they are indeed a part of their heritage. But you niggas was calling y'all African? Oh, mysteriously, you have no contact with the people you say you descend from. So I don't believe you. Bro.
Hating Africa and hating the African, we ended up even hating ourselves without even realizing it. Because you can't hate the roots of a tree and not hate the tree. The roots of a tree and not hate the tree.
You ain't no Indian, please try again. Everybody know you's an African. And Malcolm X said, you can't hate the root without hating the tree. Now take a look at you, you's a wannabe Cherokee. And I told you before, you need some therapy. And why you never show the genealogy? You owe your ancestors an apology. And you know they turning over inside of their graves just because you don't wanna come from a slave. So you gotta take this whip in. I caught another apple slipping. Caught another apple slipping. Caught another apple slipping. Caught another apple. Caught another apple. Caught another apple slipping. Ay. Caught another apple slipping. Ay. Caught another apple slipping. Ay. Caught another apple. Caught another. Let's go. Caught another apple slipping. Caught another apple slipping. Caught another apple slipping. Caught another apple. Caught another apple. Caught another apple slipping. Yo, check this out, man. You wasn't already here, man. Dane Calloway lied to you, man. The research guy lied to you, man. Karimio lied to you, man. Your ancestors come from Africa, whether you like it or not. So no matter what you do, no matter what you say, you will always be an African. You can't deny the facts. You can't deny the evidence. You can't deny the genealogy. You can't deny the DNA. You can't deny it, man. Whether you like it or not, you are African. Caught an apple slipping. That's all we do. That's all we do. Let's go.
You got some dewy-eyed thing that you got a friend. I still ask you to look at that mirror. And if nothing's staring back at you is friendly, then you've got no friend.